Good afternoon, Monday afternoon in Berlin, 6 p.m. Berlin time. Hope everyone is going to or can tune in today for a music production live session. It is Monday, so this is music production day. We did a music marketing video on Friday. We talked about how we could get more streams to our music and specifically how we can use the marketing funnel. But anyways, if you are interested in that music marketing episode, check those out. Those happen Fridays, live sessions. Mondays are all about music production and specifically in Logic and how we can leverage things in Logic and a bit of tutorial style stuff, but also hands-on examples of things that you can do in your tracks, things that I'm doing that I'll share that you can use in your own music. So welcome to this music production episode. Hope everyone's having a good start to the week. If you're tuning in from California, let us know. If you're tuning in from Canada, let us know. If you're tuning in from Germany, let us know in the chat. If you're tuning in from Australia or last time we had someone from Indonesia, all over the globe. So say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're from. What time is it? If you're just waking up, don't worry about it. You can watch this later. I don't really do music production the first thing that when I wake up in the morning. So we're going to use the chat window in this music production episode as a Q&A little box here. So we can, as I'm going through this episode, please just pop in the chat, ask questions, specifically like when I'm in my Logic session here and you see something you're interested in knowing. This I think would be, I'm trying to think of things that I would find beneficial if I was watching a live video. And sometimes I see people's Logic sessions or something they did maybe with a bus output or even a nod, like anything really in the track, whether it's an effect or actually the recording or the structure or anything. I'm often interested in questions, and I'd love to ask the creator that, but it never really happens. And so I want to do that in this video while I'm going through it. We can just derail the video as much as we want to, depending on your questions, if you see things in Logic here. So like if you're wondering what I'm doing with compression or how I'm creating synth pads or anything you see in here, please feel free to ask a question and I'll get to it in right away because it's live and I'm here and we can chat and it's cool. Why I like doing these live videos as opposed to doing recorded videos all the time. But I still publish 5 recorded videos every week. So 7 videos every week for you guys coming this year, 365 videos in total. Hey Nat, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for checking in. Where are you coming from? Let us know what time it is. And also Nat, if you're into music, producing music, or just trying to market your music, let us know where you're coming from too, because I'm curious to know what stage people are in. That will help me tailor kind of the language I speak, maybe the pace I go as well, and also would just kind of give me a good data points to know, because I'm also just an indie musician too. I'm a singer-songwriter. I write my own music. I produce a lot of music, and I'm marketing my own music. I'm not signed to a major label at all, and I'm doing a lot of the same things you guys are doing. So I started this channel to just pass the things I'm learning on, not like I'm the best in the world at this or anything, but I'm learning a lot, and so I wanted to pass it on to you guys, and we can kind of help each other in a way. If you see things I'm doing in my session here that you're kind of thinking I could do better, or you might have a suggestion, I'm all ears for that, like totally. So that's I really, really think we can leverage and help each other with that. I'm from Brazil. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome, Nat. 206 there. I guess everyone's at home pretty much, right? Like nowadays, I would assume the more people are at home. So Hey SG, good to have you back in the live stream. Hope your music production from India is going well, and that you're kind of learning lots and getting better every day. This is really the time to get better at music production. It does. Life has taken definitely some turns and some twists and ups and downs, but there's always a bit of a bright side with some of the time maybe that we've kind of had to really carve out and carve away from social life, but we can put that back into things you want to learn. And I'm learning music production, and I've put a lot of hours in the last year learning, and I'm kind of passing this on now to you guys. Hey Dreams, welcome back to this live stream. Good to have you here. Yeah, the situation in my city is kind of bad. That's not good. Nah, sorry to hear that. That's difficult. There's a lot of things going on in the world, and it's never great to hear that kind of news. But I wish you. I hope you're doing well personally, and it's cool that you're taking the time to join the chat. So everyone who's just been joining recently, quick recap: we're doing a music production tutorial. We're gonna specifically talk about this in this video. I want to just talk about how I'm creating some movement in my tracks. Like, if you found yourself before you're making a track and you're writing a song and it just it feels kind of dull, or it doesn't have energy and it doesn't move, there's things you can do to provide that, to give that energy and movement and rhythm to the tracks. There's production things that you can do and musical things, and so we're going to go through some of the ways you can do that. Not all the ways, but probably some of the more popular ways and simple ways that you can do that in this video. And I think it's important to just say again, like, ask questions in the chat here, and we will just have a conversation, and we can use this time to you can leverage what I know, and I might reach out to you guys and say, let me know if you think I'm doing this right, or I think everyone in the world has so much to learn, and no one can ever really be a complete master at anything, especially with the rate this world really changes. So yeah, feel free, like, rip away and ask a question. No problem at all. I'll be like kind of bobbing back and forth between talking, maybe not talking, and just clicking and doing things, and then if you ask questions, I'll derail and get on to the question. Then I'll come back to the lesson, and I'll work in that type of rhythm. And we're gonna be talking about rhythm. So yeah, ask away. So there are some fundamental ways that we can you've been struggling to understand sends and buses. That's a good thing. We can I'll talk about that here now with regards, and I'll attach it to the lesson. So, and we can talk about how sends and buses work with talking about this electric pluck guitar track here. So let me know if you guys can see the screen okay, and if it's because I'm on widescreen right now, so let me know if you can see everything. So let's get to Nat's question first, and let's talk about rhythm, and then we'll work in sends and buses. So okay, one way to create rhythm, you can think of creating rhythm by providing in patterns, and these patterns music can actually be quite scientific in a way, or mathematical in a way, because you have really notes, right? There are patterns. You can have if you've heard of 16th notes or 8th notes or quarter notes or whole notes, these type of patterns can create rhythm. And the common, like, maybe pattern you have heard before is like an 8th note hi-hat or a 16th note hi-hat. So like, for example, these hi-hats here. I'm just going to bump up the stereo out there a little. Soft. Actually, I think you guys can hear that okay. I mean, I can hear it, so I'm sure you can. So just these hi-hats alone are creating a lot of rhythm, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are eighth note hi-hats, which means there's 8 little MIDI notes, which like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inside one bar. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So sorry if that's kind of you. A lot of you probably know that. Maybe some of you don't, and you're like, "Hey, thanks for showing me that." And some of you do. So there's going to be some things you do know and some things you don't know in these kind of sessions. But so these are eighth note hi-hats. These patterns, eighth notes and 16th notes and quarter notes in this type of pattern provide a lot of rhythm to your track. If we solo the drum tracks, and if we take out all the rhythmic percussive elements, the hats, the shakers, and this percussive loop, it sounds very different. And let me just mute these. So it's kind of a bit of a stale, sounds still cool, but that's what drums sound like without the percussive rhythm element. And you add these back in, and you see how much it's moving. It's moving so much more without the hi-hat. So like taking them out. So you need these in if you want to create rhythm and energy to your track. And that's drum specific. So we can do this, and I'm going to get to your question, Nat. I promise, it's coming right up. And we can do this with the guitars, and then I'm going to get to everyone else's question. So the same patterns like of what we do with the hi-hats, we can do with the guitars. So here's this electric guitar here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. So these are also system overload. That's not good. Just let me see if my buffer size is. Yeah. Okay. If you ever get that notification, just if you're mixing, you can have your IO buffer size just side thing at 1024. If you're recording, you should probably go lower, depending on the memory of your computer. I'm on a MacBook Pro like 2018, I think, and it only has 8 gigs of memory. So this is like really pushing it. If you're going to get a new computer, make sure you bump up the memory. Okay, so Nate's question was like, how do we get sends? What are sends and buses? So, okay, so this guitar track is doing a rhythmic pattern of eighth notes. And you can see there's 2 sends on the side here. We have bus 6 and bus 1. So the added effects here are creating even more rhythm on top of it. So this is the dry recording without any. Okay, let's just do it without anything. So that's the dry recording. I'm running it through. Just gonna put that back down where it was. I'm running it through just a Logic amp here, and I'm doing just a simple EQ, popping down some of those high frequencies, and then I also have a channel EQ on there because I'm doing some automation. If I open up A on my keyboard, I've done a bit of automation. Okay, so how do sends work? Sends. Okay, so I'm going to just do this super basic, and I'm sorry if anyone's a little advanced. You're going to just have to come back maybe until I pass this, or stick with us. But I'm going to go basics if like kindergarten level, so we can really understand it. Okay, so basically a bus is, let's start from scratch. Let's add a new audio track. So we have a new audio track. I'm just going to bring that down so we have something in it. And I'm going to reset the channel strip. So we want to add effects to this track. So there's one way to do that. We can just go here and add effects, right? We can add EQ, we We can add compression. We can add distortion, anything you want. And then you will likely want to add effects like reverb and delay. Okay, so to add reverb, there's one way to do it. You can add it just on the channel in the effects area, going reverb, like any of these, Space Designer, Chroma, Silververb, and you can add it on the channel. That's fine. Where most people will, I mean, you'll want to eventually start bussing out reverb, which means bussing and sends are like kind of the same in one and the same. So you send to a bus. So it says sends, and you open up sends and it has bus here, right? And so you have all these numbers, bus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and then even have all these other like empty buses here. And bus is just like another track, you can think of it like. So if I open up my mixer, it's down here. All these yellow tracks here are buses. They're also known as auxiliary tracks. And you can kind of think of it like yellow is like a yellow school bus. So what you saw there are ones that I've already created. You can see I have a small verb channel, a big verb bus output. I have a small verb. I have a side chain. I have a quarter delay, a drums bus output. These are all things that I've created for this session. So if you're starting from scratch, then you'll want to create, if you want to bus out reverb, it's basically, this is how you do it. You go to sends, bus, and you look for an empty number, wherever. That could be 9 because it's empty. There's no arrow with things. It could be any of these. You should probably just like keep them together. So let's go to 9. And then immediately Logic has created this channel right beside it. And it's at the bottom, it says aux 16. And so Logic had just created this new bus channel for you. And you can double click this aux 16 and let's just call it example verb. And now this bus that says bus 9 here, it has a circle beside it. You can click on the circle and drag up. And now the circle is fully green. And now you can drag down, it's not. So the more you drag up, that means you are sending more signal to this track right beside it, which is your example verb track. So there's nothing in the track here, right? It's just, there's no effects in it. There's nothing. So you need to add your effect in this track. You need to go and add your reverb here and not in this track, right? Okay, this is your guitar track here, audio 16, we can call it guitar. And then we're going to send signal to this track here. So we're going to go and add a reverb, Space Designer. I'm just going to choose a preset by going to like a medium plate maybe, or where's plates? Okay, whatever. Let's just do something like this. Not getting fussy about the taste of the reverb right now. Now I'm going to send everything, and you'll hear what that sounds like. So now nothing. So nothing's happening to the signal. It's completely dry. The more we increase this green thing, the less dry it gets and the more wet it becomes. So that's, and then you would go and find the tasteful amount of reverb you want to add. And then if you don't want this reverb, you go and change it. So this is how bus and sends work fundamentally. The reason we use bus and sends is because it's productive. Pretty much it's because it's productive. Like if you were going to go and add, whenever you want to add a reverb, let's say you want to also add a reverb on this guitar track up here, you'd have to go here and then add the reverb again. But with buses, we just go, I'm on a new track here and I can just go to my bus 9 and I can just bus out some more reverb. And it took 2 seconds. And this would have taken maybe 10 seconds. So that over time takes more time, but also, so it's productive, but also it saves your computer a lot of power, like memory power, I don't know, processing speed, because yeah, your computer has to work every single plugin on the chain, and that's going to take up a lot of processing power. So that's a big reason why too. And then a third reason is that if you're putting reverbs on every single channel, and if they're 100% wet all the time, you're just going to have so much reverb in your track, when here on the guitar track, I can just kind of put a bit of reverb. Sometimes all you need is that much. Sometimes you do need more. Sometimes you can automate it over time. Like I can open up automation and just press latch here, and I could automate this automation. And now that reverb is automated over time, right? It kind of goes up on a slant. So you might want to do that sometimes if you want to create some space. Maybe especially it's very popular to do, I'm just going to delete this, right click, delete visible automation. You can, that's a very popular thing to do on vocals in the chorus section. Maybe you want the chorus a bit more wet, so you would automate the reverb in the chorus. Even maybe on specific words, you might automate the reverb on a specific word, and you can do that with busing. Okay, that might have been long-winded. I'm sorry, but I hope that kind of, that really kind of cleared things up. Anyways, let me know, guys, if that cleared things up. Been producing a lot lately. Okay, so wow, thanks for the kind words, Skizmo and Ava. Nice to see you. Glad to hear you've been producing a lot lately, and glad to hear that my videos have been helping. SG, my new song, I have a new single. It's called Goodbye. It's coming out this Friday, and I'm really excited for it. So thanks for asking. Nat, yeah, can't I do that only by putting the effects in the track itself? Okay, you think you got it. Okay, so when there's a vocal track, for example, and there's only a phrase with a delay, is that sending from another track? For example, the bad guy phrase. The bad guy phrase. I'm not really sure what that reference is. Is that to a song? Is that to my song? I don't know. But I think I know what you're talking about. I think you're talking about a vocal delay throw. So when there's a vocal track, for example, and there's only a phrase with a delay. Okay, yeah. So that would be, oh, I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. Yeah, I can't remember. I know the song. I'm not sure what the production was in that. But okay, let's. I think I know what you're saying. Let's see here. Let's just use this sample. Let's clean this up. I'm gonna get rid of that guitar track. Command backspace deletes the whole track, and then I'm gonna Command D, duplicate this track, and I'll show you. I think I'll just quickly do what I think you want to do. I think basically okay, let's listen to this. Okay, let's maybe actually, let's bring this whole thing down. Okay, so if you want to do a delay throw, you would need to put that on a different track and have that track. The delay on that track has to be 100% wet. So if you, for example, if this is your lead vocal track here, and you want to have, okay, let's say you want just to have this word here, you want that to have repeated, okay? Then you would put that word in a separate track, and then you would go to this track. Let's just reset this strip because it's a new track, and you would put a delay. Throw to 100% wet, and depending on when you want it to show up. So let's listen. Whoa, sorry, that was super loud. Okay, so 100% wet, and we're going to throw it full note back with some minimum feedback. This is tough because this sample has built-in actually delay to it, so it's sounding a bit wonky. So I'm not sure if this is going to work, actually. Let's just do a half note. So what's going to happen means like the vocal is going to go through the track, and it's going to hit the cursor is going to hit this one here, and it's going to sing. But when it hits this one, it's not going to happen until like here, because you have the delay on 100% wet. Does that make sense? I think I need that actually, this part here too, for you to make sense of it. Oops. Let's just try that. So that's, so here's so you can hear it like, so let's listen in context, always better. So we have this vocal track. We'll mute the delay throw, for example, in context. So now if we want this to be this delay throw, so we want only this word happening again, we've made a new track, we've put a delay on it, and we've made it 100% wet. And so if we want that to happen a bit further, like not right away, then we have to go into the delay and change the note of when it happens. So we make a whole note, for example. If we want it faster, we'd bump it up to a quarter note. You can also do this with sends. So if this is your question, then like you can send the full signal here. If you had, for example, a bus, which I do, like a quarter delay, send. I have this by default on every track because I use delay a lot. Let's just take this off. You can do full send. So you can double click and actually just type 0. Oops, that's not 0. That's going to do the full dry signal of this to the bus track, which is this one here, which has the delay on it. You see, it's the same thing. So they both do the same thing. I hope that made sense. It's definitely like, depends where you're at, I guess, with your comfort level in terms of working with delays and stuff. But Let me know if that made sense. Like a cook up, like a quick cook up. Ronnie, that's a cool way to talk about making beats. Like a quick cook up. Is that like a barbecue session where we cook up some beats? You know, like someone brings the hi-hat ketchup and someone brings the snares and have a cook up. I would definitely recommend doing using the step sequencer if you want to do a beat cook up. That would be my recommendation to you, because the step sequencer in Logic is super easy to make beats really quickly, and you can get kick and snare patterns really quickly and hi-hat patterns really, really quickly, that you can get a quick groove going. I mean, that's exactly what I did with this beat. I went into here and I used the step sequencer and I programmed like a beat here with my mouse, and it's super quick, and then I just converted that to MIDI, and I was able to then apply all my wanted effects on it. Or you can also have my MIDI keyboard here and pads where you can play the notes too if you want. It's this, you can do that too. Oh, some Billie Eilish. Oh, there. Oh, I thought you. Quixie, welcome back to the live chat. I thought Quixie was saying make a Billie Eilish tutorial. Yeah, Billie Eilish is super great. I will be doing a Billie Eilish tutorial, actually, kind of a reference tutorial to one of her songs in the coming the coming week or two weeks. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to go deep on one of her productions that Phineas did, and we'll talk about the things they did and why it's so cool and why it's so simple as well. When you kind of go through what they've done, it's super simple and really not complex. What makes it good is the chosen instrumentation and patterns are just really good. Like less is more in a way. Can you make the same thing by automation? Oh, with automation? Yeah, totally. You can. I was just wondering what we were referring to. Yeah, with delay throws, you can do it with automation. Yep, you can do that too. So if you also, with automation, if you have like controller set up in front of you, then it can be even easier. This is something like I need just to get around to do, but getting controllers that have knobs on them as well, you can program these knobs to Logic, so you can just use the actual it would be like go to the I don't know what happened. Go to the vocal here, and then you would go to latch. And once you have latch on, like that means like anything goes basically when you press play, and then you would turn the knobs like because you've programmed it to the delay, and it's super fast like that. So maybe eventually I'll get that going, and then I can do a tutorial on it, because it's something I want to do as well, and I need a better controller that has actually the twisty knobs. All my controllers just have buttons, pads, and keys. Cool. Yeah, let's get back in. Keep asking questions though. I'll get back into a bit of the creating rhythm. The other like really cool way to create rhythm in tracks is using an arpeggiator. And yeah, arpeggiators are awesome, because if you are at all stuck on something, you can use an arpeggiator as like a crutch, I find, to get out of a rut, because they just automatically create a lot of rhythm. For example, here's an arpeggiator. It's super quiet, but 17, okay. Okay, so that's something that is really easy to make. So if we do, one way to make an arpeggiator is to actually use like the built-in arpeggiators within the virtual instrument. Like Alchemy has an arpeggiator built in. For example, if we just go to like a bass, or let's just do a synth lead for now, like a soft something. That is a serious synth. It's kind of like weekend vibe. That's cool. Okay, so this is the arpeggiator right here. You can go to ARP, and then this is what you're looking at here. And here is where you make your pattern. So you can also like let Logic do it for you. So if I just want to record like something in here, let's just get the rhythm of the song. Let's just do it with the drums. Turn that up there. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 1 second. Okay. So I'll just quickly quantize that by whole notes because I've played whole notes. Just gonna cut that off. So arpeggiator, one way to do it is right within Alchemy. You can I think you can go to perform here and turn on the ARP somewhere. I think you can. Oh yeah, I think you just turn a mode on. Right. Okay. So we're in 1/16 now. So like 1/8 maybe. That's a pretty crappy pattern because you can see it's just like there's 16 steps here and it's just going same velocity for everything. For every note, so you can change the velocities here, and you can also take off complete steps. So you can make your own patterns. So I might just do you can also choose the amount of steps. So I might just do actually 8 steps. Something seems a bit out of tune almost. I guess there was overlap there. I think it wasn't working. I think it's just too low. I'm gonna bump that up. Actually, I'm gonna bump all these up. I'm gonna do Shift Option up arrow. see it's how it's so easy just to like find rhythm by just working like a pattern within the ARP, and then the arpeggiator, ARP for short. And then you can go to the perform knob here, and then you can actually just, it will hold that ARP pattern, but then you can switch, I think it will hold the pattern, and then you can, or the pattern, then you can switch the effects. And then like you can automate the cutoff, would be cool. Maybe some of the attack. So that's why Alchemy is super cool and an very underrated synth. The other way to create an ARP is by using the MIDI effects here, and you can go to the arpeggiator, and it's the same thing kind of what we were just doing in Alchemy, and you choose like grid if you want to create your own pattern, and you would do the same thing, like create a pattern, and you can choose the steps here by going to like 8 steps, 16 steps, or 4 steps. It depends on what you want with your song. And then choosing your rate is super important, like what we were talking at the beginning of this lesson, which is like 8th notes, 16th notes, a quarter notes, all the way up to like 1/32 even. That's getting super fast and rarely ever happens with rhythmic elements, unless your song could maybe is really slow. I do actually, Nat, have a mixing tutorial. It's on my channel. It's for tailored towards the beginner, so it could be / intermediate. It could be good for you. Yeah, check it out. Cool. Yeah, let me know what your question is, or I'm just catching up on some comments. I'm trying to make a synth with 2 synths, but I would like that one of yeah, totally possible. Dreams. You can definitely have just 2 tracks, and you can, yeah, let's do that right now if you want. We can, so this analog mellow lead that we just made, we can Command D and duplicate the track so we have the same virtual instrument. I'm just going to take the ARP off because we're not using the ARP anymore. We're actually using the ARP inside Alchemy. Then we can drag this down by holding holding Option and holding Option on our mouse to make a copy. And then I can go Shift Option down arrow, and that has just moved it down 12, well, an octave. Or I can go also Shift up to move it up an octave. So now we have one in this octave and then another one up an octave. So that's that's definitely a popular thing to do in production, to layer things, and a great tactic to use. One thing to keep in mind when you're layering things is to just make sure, especially when you're layering audio tracks that are the exact same audio signal. Like we can do this with MIDI, but if this was an audio track and we duplicated it, and it's the exact same audio track, it's going to create some phasing issues. You really shouldn't have this exact same audio track on another track. So two of the same tracks with the exact same audio track. You can have the same singer singing the lead vocal here, and then she sings it again here. That's fine because it's a different take. It's not 100% the same. What happens when they're 100% the same is you're going to get, it's going to get phasing issues, and it's actually going to sound bad, and it's going to probably peak your output. if you play the electric guitar and you don't have an amp to make a stereo system, yeah, the recording I do. I'm not sure what you mean, Nat. Like if you I think what you mean is like if you have if you're recording in mono, I assume, and you want a stereo image after the fact, can you duplicate the mono recording? You can just go for it. Yeah, and then I'll save the guessing. Cool. I'm gonna delete these. Okay. So another way to create movement in your tracks, this is the titled video. If anyone's just coming in, we're just kind of going over how to create movement in your tracks. How to create movement in your tracks, how to create energy. If you find yourself you're writing a song and it seems a bit dull and boring, can we inject some life into it? And please ask any questions in the Q&A in the chat, and we'll get to them throughout the video. So we've gone through hi-hats and creating energy this way. Hi-hats are a perfect way to create movement with your drums. Shakers are another way. You can use different patterns of movement. So typical patterns are just sometimes even very straight. This is quite a straight pattern. There's like a bit of movement here just to be a little bit fresh. The shakers are more or less the same. Actually, no, the shakers have quite a different pattern. And then this percussive loop is even more different. Right? Okay. Let's look at the other tracks here. We've gone through these guitars. And you'll see here with whole notes like this piano. So the piano's quite almost doing whole notes, and there's not that much movement, but I did just kind of like, if you think you're playing piano, you can kind of play the same chord twice here, because it could have been very much like this, like without these chords. It could just be like this. But to provide some more rhythm, you can play the same chord twice to have movement. So all these chords are being played twice to make that move. So that's another way to create rhythm. Okay. Gone through the ARP. So if I have mono recording and I want to try to make a stereo image out of it. Oh, okay, yeah. A mono recording. Yeah, I want to make a stereo image of it. Yeah, you need to do it again, unfortunately. Without recording again to avoid any differences between you can't just duplicate the track, unfortunately, and if it's an audio track, because then you're going to get phasing issues, even if you stereoize it. So like this guitar track, it's kind of just a plucky, like if we center that, let's put the bus on. And if I just move that down here and I like really hard pan them, I mean, if you hard pan them, I think it's actually okay. But if you once you start doing like a little bit of this, once it's not hard pan, then you're gonna get phasing issues there, because these tracks are exactly the same. But I'm not actually sure when it's super hard pan. That's because that could be actually. I don't know. I'm stumped on that one. So maybe if you're feeling up for it, just hard pan the actual track to one way. Make sure it's hard pan, because I know as soon as you start bringing it in like this, then it's not fully on the left or fully on the right, and you're gonna get issues. But when it's hard pan, you might be okay. So I'm gonna have to like just Google that after and figure that out though, because I'm not actually sure. I know like just from other producers, working with other producers in the past, we always have done like multiple takes to, even if we're gonna do like provide that kind of chorus feeling to it, and we want a double chorus, a double take of the guitars or anything, we always do the takes twice, so you never have it 100% the same. Good question. Phasing is actually, I like all these questions, Nat. Nat's in the game today. He's learning. Ladies and gentlemen, Nat is learning. Everyone else should be asking questions, because Nat's like getting all the attention, but I don't mind. Okay. All right. Okay. What's phasing? Man, how do I explain phasing? These are. Okay. So phasing is like, here's a good way to explain it. I'll show you. Phasing is actually an effect to use, and let's just try. What should we try it on? Should we stick with this guitar? It's not so loud. Okay, let's just stick with this guitar. So there's a plugin I use called Micro Shift, and it's actually a phaser. So depending on where you are listening to this right now, if you have headphones on, or actually no, phase matches is what I want, not micro shift. But phase micro shift will do that as well. Yeah, it's micro shift. So depending on where you're listening to this, you'll be able to hear this when I put this this plugin on and off. You'll notice that when it's off, the signal will be kind of in the middle of the image, of the stereo image, and then when I turn it on, it will be wide. So I'll take a listen. Just gonna bump that up. This is wide. Now back to the middle. Back to the sides. So that's an example of using phasing as a plugin. Now, what happens with, so I guess, like, does that make sense now? It's actually a hard thing to explain. Mi faza, someone, no, mi faza. So, I'm not sure if I don't speak that language. Does anyone speak this language? Mia Fazer. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no worries. But phasing can be good. It also can be bad. So it's one of those many things you need to go through with music production. Cool. So we went through arpeggiators, went through hi-hats. Honestly, these are like the fundamental things I'm always using as crutches if I need rhythm here or there. And then sometimes it can get you just use it as a crutch to get you out of a hole. Like an arpeggiator, if you're like, oh, I can't think of ideas to what to do in this section, maybe get an arpeggiator going, get the blood flowing a bit, maybe get a different kick and your kick and snare pattern has really got to do with your rhythm as well. Maybe try out some different patterns. If you're really not feeling the song, it's probably something to do with your rhythm. And the base of the rhythm is your drums, right? Drums are rhythm. And then it's every other instrument on top of that, but I would say like your first level are your drums. So if you don't have a good base of drums, then maybe start like tweaking the drums before you put things on. I'm talking about like if you're actually starting from writing songs from scratch or producing songs from scratch. But most of the time I would like, depending on how I want to produce the song that day or write a song, I'm either making an instrumental or I'm just starting with a piano and a vocal and writing lyrics. If I want to switch things up, then I'll be making a beat first and with a guitar part like this. What is going on with the bass? What? That is wrong. What is happening there? Okay. Shouldn't happen. I think Logic is being weird. Let's just delete that. I think it's something. I honestly think my computer can't handle trillion bass right now. Anyways, I think maybe could be cool next Monday if I just make a song like this from scratch, and it might even take like 3 or 4 hours, but I just live stream the whole thing, and you can kind of tune in, tune out when you want, and then I'll just do my own thing and make it, because I also thought that would be cool to watch other YouTubers do that, and haven't really seen anyone do that from scratch, totally from scratch. But I literally think my computer just can't handle this trillion bass. It's the Spectrasonics virtual instrument, and it's kind of making me a bit frustrated with this, because you really. Okay, so let's troubleshoot this. I'll just duplicate the track, see if it's something on the track level. Actually, I'll just bring everything down. All those. Input. Checking. Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. I was on mute for like ever. I don't even know how long. So sorry. So sorry about that. I think I might have pressed mute on my keyboard or something. You can hear me now though, right? Can you hear me? Oh my God, this is embarrassing. It's like kindergarten YouTube live with Charles Klein. Remember never to go on mute. Yeah. Navig. Oh gosh. We're still literally on mute. Can't be. I'm sorry, Cornell. I actually don't speak that. I don't speak this language. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I don't know what that. You hear me now? I'm not even sure how long I was muted, guys. This is embarrassing. So oh man. Okay, well, I was just going through doing reverses on stuff. I don't even know where I went out, but I was just reversing this synth track and saying that you can consider using like reverses, bouncing a track in place, reversing it, using bits and pieces as transition or different ideas here and there to spice things up. And I do that all the time to get little kind of fresh little sounds in your song. And that's often a cool way to do it other than just like dragging a sample in, because you're making music and you're being creative and you're doing your own thing. So I kind of like that approach to it. Yeah, Mark, thank you. I've been on mute for like probably like, I'm just glad I looked down at the comments. Sometimes I'm get so in the zone and I'm like, don't look at the comments, and then I just look down and everyone's like, I can't hear you. Go. Okay, well, I'm gonna go now actually, because I gotta run. But let's jump in. Come back Friday. We're gonna do a live session, talk about music marketing and how we can get streams on our music, how we can go about that. So if you're like an indie musician, seriously consider subscribing to this channel. If you're making music, producing music, or like you want to market your music, that's what I talk about on this channel: music production and music marketing. So let's chat next